Hi everyone, welcome back to another video in the Web Security Academy series. In today's video, we'll be covering lab number 5 in the command injection module titled Blind OS Command Injection with Out-of-Band Data Exfiltration. Alright, let's get started. This lab contains a blind OS command injection vulnerability in the feedback function. The application executes a shell command containing the user supplied details. The command is executed asynchronously and has no effect on the application's response. It is not possible to redirect output into a location that you can access. However, you can trigger out-of-band interaction with an external domain. To solve the lab, execute the whoami command and exfiltrate the output via DNS query to Burp Collaborator. You will need to enter the name of the current user to complete the lab. Alright, so this is similar to the previous lab with the exception that instead of just proving that it's vulnerable to a blind command injection, we're also exfiltrating data by running the whoami command and then outputting the name of the current user of the system. And we've got a note right over here from the Portswigger Academy telling us to prevent the Academy platform from being used to attack third parties. Our firewall blocks interactions between the labs and arbitrary external systems. To solve the lab, you must use Burp Collaborator's default public server, burpcollaborator.net. So unfortunately, we will need Burp Suite Professional in order to complete this lab because the Collaborator public server is not available in the Community Edition. So let's hit next and then start Burp. While that's loading, we'll access the lab. And it doesn't look like it clicked properly, so let's access it. And we're going to set the Foxy proxy extension to send requests to Burp, and then let's click on Submit Feedback. And you see over here, it gets intercepted in Burp. So set intercept to off and then go to HTTP history and we'll see our requests over here. All right, let's submit a feedback form. So let's say the email is test@test.ca, the subject is test, and then the message is test, and then click on submit feedback. And you'll notice over here that it doesn't provide you with the content of the message that you submitted. It just says thank you for submitting feedback. And so if any of these fields is vulnerable to command injection, it won't be in-band command injection where you actually get to output the response of the command on the page. Instead, it's going to be blind. And so you need to resort to blind techniques in order to exploit this command injection. So if we go over here and then send this to repeater, go back to repeater, and we'll bring this right over here. You'll see over here it's the same request that it's the same application that we've been dealing with in the past couple of labs, and so we already know that the email field is vulnerable. Now let's first confirm that the email field is vulnerable to command injection, and then once we confirm that, we'll exploit it in order to exfiltrate data. So the first thing that we're going to do is what we did in the previous lab, which is write a query to perform an NS lookup on our collaborator domain. And to get a domain from collaborator, go to Burp and then Burp Collaborator client, copy to clipboard, put it right over here, and then add the hash sign to comment out the rest of the command. And let's copy this, go back to Burp, put it in right over here. Let's add a space and then Control U to URL encode it. And before we send the request, let's put collaborator client right beside it so that we could see it in real time. Hit send. And let's click on pull now. And you could see it performed a DNS query, which means that this is definitely vulnerable to blind command injection. Now the next step is to exfiltrate data using this technique, and the way to do that is really similar. So we're just going to copy this entire thing and just add a command in here. So the way you could do that is using backticks or using the $, and we'll do the $sign next. So let's say whoami, and that's a command that we want to run, which outputs the current user of the system. So let's copy this. It should first perform an NS lookup, and then the second thing it's going to do is run the whoami command. So let's remove all of this and then add it right over here. Again, let's put a space over here and fix this. and select the whole thing, Control U to URL encode it. And let's look at Burp Collaborator, hit send, and then pull now. And you'll see over here, it performed a DNS lookup and it outputted the response to the command that we ran, which is whoami. So if we copy this over here, that's the name of the user that is running on the system. Let's copy that and then go back to our lab, click on Submit Solution, hit OK. And here we go. We see congratulations, you solved the lab. So we successfully completed the exercise, but before we review what we performed, I promised that I'll show you the $ way of doing this. So it's really similar. Again, instead of using backticks, all you would do is put a $, put it in brackets, and this is another way of running commands, but I believe this is the deprecated way of running commands if I'm not wrong. So let's copy this and confirm that it works. Again, let's remove our command injection over here and put a space. And we forgot to copy our hash sign. And then let's do Control U to URL encode it. And before we run it, let's have Burp Collaborator right beside it. Hit send. And then pull now. And we see another DNS lookup, and you could see over here, it's outputting the content of the response from the whoami command. So we successfully completed the exercise by exploiting a blind command injection in order to exfiltrate data from the system. This completes the last lab in the command injection module. If you liked the video, hit the subscribe and share button so that the video reaches a wider audience. Also, make sure to check out my course if you're interested in seeing more videos like this one. Thank you and see you in the next video.